Mrs. Johnson, what is the importance of death within Tom Stoppar's interpretation of Hamlet?
Well, John, death is an important theme within Rosencrantz and Guildesntern are Dead, as it helps to portray the existentialist values which fit in with the theatrical style.
But Mrs. Johnson, why has Mr. Stoppard chosen death? It is such touchy subject to some people within the audience.
Well, it's simply Mr. Stoppard's purpose, Josie. The theatrical style attacks the comfortable certainties of religious orthodoxy. He aims to shock the audience out of complacency.
Well, I certainly don't like thinking of death, but the movie does raise some good points through the theme of death. For example, death is the only certainty in life. It shocks me, as the text simply makes me realize that death is always lurking around the corner and steadily approaching.
Yes, John, it is clever how he manages to shake the audience in that way. Now let's take another look at a few scenes which are based around the death theme.
Did you ever think of yourself as actually dead, lying in a box with the lid on it?
No?
Nor do I, really. It's silly to be depressed by it. I mean, one thinks of it like being alive in a box. One keeps forgetting to take into account the fact that one is dead. Which should make all the difference, shouldn't it? I mean, you'd never know you were in a box, would you? It would be just like you were asleep in a box. Not that I'd like to sleep in a box, mind you. Not without any air. You'd wake up dead, for a start, and then where would you be? In a box. That's the bit I don't like, frankly. That's why I don't think of it. Because you'd be helpless, wouldn't you? Stuffed in a box like that. I mean, you'd be in there forever, even taking into account the fact that you're dead. It isn't a pleasant thought. Especially if you're dead, really. Ask yourself, if I asked you straight off, I'm going to stuff you in this box. Now, would you rather be alive or dead? Naturally, you'd prefer to be alive. Life in a box is better than no life at all, I expect. You'd have a chance, at least. You could lie there thinking, well, at least I'm not dead. In a minute somebody is going to bang on the lid, and tell me to come out.
Are Guildenstern's views on death positive?
No, they are quite negative actually, and with death comes the idea of eternity. Have you noticed Roz and Gil's view of eternity?
I remember that scene where Roz is using various analogies to explain his view on death, and also eternity. He seems to use a religious theme throughout the analogies.
Yes, that's entirely correct. That's because eternity is common throughout various religions. Let's take another look at the scene. Wait, is that the golden snitch?
Yes, it is. You're a wizard, Harry.
I wouldn't think about it if I were you. You'd only get depressed. Eternity is a terrible thought, like when's it going to end? They don't care. We count for nothing. We could remain silent while we're going green in the face, they wouldn't come.
Blue, red?
Alright, we know you're in there, come out talking. We have no control, none at all. Whatever became of the moment when one first knew of death? There must have been one. A moment in childhood where it must have occurred to you, that you don't last forever. It must have been shattering to one's memory, and yet I can't remember it. It never occurred to me at all. What does one make of that? We must be born with an intuition of mortality. Before we knew the words for it, before we know that there are words. Out we come all bloodied and squalling with all the knowledge that for all compasses in the world there is only one direction, and time is its only measure. They're taking us for granted. Well, I won't stand for it. In future notice will be taken. Keep out and I forbid anyone to enter, that's better.
Death followed by eternity. The worst of both worlds, it is a terrible thought.
What about right at the end of the play? What is the character's look on death then?
Well, Johnny boy, Rosencrantz and Guildesntern look at it as not a glorious thing, just a natural insignificance happening. This is what they said.
No, no, not for us, not like that. Dying is not romantic, and death is not a game which will soon be over. Death is not anything. Death is not. It's the absence, nothing more. The endless time of never coming back. A gap you can't see, and when the wind blows through it, it makes no sound.
That's it, then, is it? The sun's going down. Or the earth's coming up, as the fashionable theory has it. Not that it makes any difference.
As you can see, Rosencrantz and Guildesntern don't look at death as a horrid tragedy like most people do. They see it as it is, a natural, unavoidable part of life. As Rosencrantz says, it's like the sun going down. Okay, that's all we have time for today, children.
Geez, I sure learned a lot about Rosencrantz and Guildesntern today.
Yep, Ron, also about how the theme of death is portrayed frequently throughout the play.
Excellent.
Hi,